Update 26.0.4.1 has been live for a few days now, and it's really bad. Hello and welcome, all my fellow godlies and Warframe enthusiasts around the world. I am Vance from the ever-popular web series Warframe God Builds, and occasionally I do videos within Warframe that are either praising Warframe and Digital Extremes for a job well done, or hazing them for a job poorly done. And in today's video, it's going to be the latter of those two, which is unfortunate because we just came off of a content drought and it was a blistering endeavor to go through. So it's unfortunate to come back to the game and come to an otherwise really ambitious update, and it'd be painful to do so. I think my first major complaint here is that we've got a really solid update, minus the issues that plague it. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do, as most people do, is they hit the market and they see what's going on here. And here you'll find the Kuva Lich Hunter collection. Where do I even begin? These aesthetics are really cool, but they should be sold separately. No, I mean they really should. Like, they really should be sold separately, because you have to purchase these for 835 platinum. This is ridiculous. I thought Digital Extremes would have learned from the Pakal pack way back when the Stalker first got his update. During the second dream, you got a War Within thing, and it gave you war, it gave you the Stalker armor bundle. It was garbage, just specifically because it was overpriced. And this is arguably even worse, because now they're force-feeding us these mods that are pretty useless. I'll get into explaining that here in a moment. But then, you know, I think the only thing attractive about this bundle is the armors, because it's Space Barbie, right? And then you got the Radiant Requiem Relic packs, which is a fucking joke. That's another thing. So I'm really only in it for the armor, and then they give you colors. Like, there's no justification for the amount of real life money that you have to spend in order to acquire this pack. That's the first daunting and glaring issue with this update, and it's just asinine. The fact that I can't buy individual chess piece, like there's only 2 of these that I want, but yet I'm gonna have to be force-fed color palettes that I don't need, relics that I also don't need because I can farm them aplenty, and then these mods. So I'm gonna segue into talking about these mods. So with the Kuva Lich system that was recently implemented into the game, you also got a new section in your arsenal dedicated to the Parazon, and it's an Assassin's Creed hidden blade type thing. It's used as a weapon, but it's also a hacking tool. I think they went full on RoboCop with this.
These are serious charges. What is your evidence?
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake.
And really, I don't know if anyone else's arsenal consists of only one mod, but mine has only one mod. It's pretty brutal. But there's these other ones that come with the Requiem relics, and this is the part where I'm gonna break down into full rant mode, because this update introduced more grind on top of our already extensive uphill battle grind, and this is coming from a veteran player, someone who's been in the game for 5 years, someone who can annihilate the grind within a matter of days. I mean, I already did, because I have all of the mods that you need from the Requiem relics, obviously, and I'm 4 liches down. Like, I'm on my 5th lich now, and I have an entire loadout themed around new Kuva weapons, but I'll address that later on. My biggest issue with this is the fact that, well, take a look. You have these mods, and there's Zata, or whatever the hell it's called. It serves no other purpose than to effectively help you kill your liches. Okay, cool. Well, you see these red dots at the bottom of the mod? Yeah, well, whenever you use one of these in order to kill your lich, one of those dots burns up, meaning that it's only good for 3 kills, and then it turns into this, a defiled mod, which means that you ultimately have to go to the Requiem relics all over again, make that sumbitch radiant, and hope that you get the thing that you're after. This is just really shitty all around the board. The fact that you even need mods to kill your lich is completely asinine. Never mind the fact that they decay and you have to farm them out of new relics. I could make an entire video complaining about relics, and I could tell you exactly why the old Void system was much better than the relic system. And I'm sorry, but if you disagree, you are flat out wrong. Let me just go into it. Let me just take one brief moment to explain for anyone who doesn't know. So basically, this is the way the relic system works. You have your Lith, you have your Meso, you have your Neo, and you have your Axii. All of which are just convoluted with stupid tier names, like Axii V4, V3. It just goes all by the letters of the alphabet, and effectively, new relics are introduced every time there's a new Prime Access, meaning that nobody has the relics upon Prime Access release. It never used to be like that. You see, back in the glory days of Warframe, arguably the better Void system, you could stockpile Void keys, meaning that as soon as Prime Access dropped, you could just run mission after mission after mission after mission because you had stockpiled keys, getting yourself ready for the drops. Even though your chances of getting the loot that you were after were a lot more slim, it was still more proficient because you didn't have to go to mission after mission looking for the very specific relic that you needed. You didn't have to go into the codex and see, oh, okay, I'm missing a Meso W1, so I'm going to click on this and find out where it could potentially drop. Now, if you take a look here, let's say we want to go to Eris Akkad. I used to use that for leveling. You'd be on this defense mission for like 40 waves and still not get this. You're plagued with RNG right out of the starting gate, because remember, if you want to get the relic that has the new Prime access, then you're going to have to get these missions that potentially could drop this relic. Just because you go to one of these missions doesn't mean that that relic is going to drop. That never used to be a thing either. Back when it was still void keys, you could go to very specific missions and be guaranteed to get the void key that you were looking for. All you had to do is know which rotation it dropped on, and you stayed into the mission until it dropped. Nowadays, it's, like I said, the whole inventory system is convoluted with relics. You might think that I'm nitpicking here, but just hear me out on this one. Because there was only Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4 void keys, you didn't have chat spamming you with all kinds of things that they were going for. In case you don't follow me, let's say you're doing Axie D1 and you want to go for Destreza Prime Blade. Well, in order to get the optimal chances for this, you're going to need to make this radiant. And as you can see here, I have 39 void traces, which is another problem that we're going to cover here in a second. Don't worry. So if I make this radiant, it's going to cost me the 100 void traces, but my chances are still kind of slim because I need other people to bring radiance. We call this rad shares. Now, once you get all 4 people that have Axie D1 Relic, even still your chances are kind of slim, because the way the drop tables work, you could get duplicates of Bratton Prime across all 4 people. You utterly need all 4 people to bring Radiant Relics, and even then you might get Bratton Prime Blueprint for all 4 of your options. I've had this happen to me multiple times. And they could tweak the loot drop chances, and they could do everything possible to make this system function a little bit better, but that's just one of the small problems that plague this whole system overall. Now let's take a look at chat. Everyone's going for different things, and personally, if I'm doing a Meso W1 for a Techo Prime Gauntlet, immediately after I get the Gauntlet, chances are I'm never going to touch this relic ever again. In fact, I'm never going to go to the chat to try and find anyone or join anyone with this relic. So what does that mean? It means that this poor guy right here, this player, well, he's going to have a really difficult time trying to find someone to join him on these missions, because unless you're doing the relics while the Prime access is hot, chances are you're not going to find anybody, because people have already gotten the Prime parts that they're looking for, and they're not down to do these missions. Now here's where this system gets really horrible to deal with. The only time you're going to have people running relics is when they need to go ducat farming. Now, with the old system, you could go to the Void and run one key. One key. And that would let you stay in a survival or a defense indefinitely until you left. And essentially after every 5 minutes or every 5 waves, you would get one of these pieces. And you know, you do 5 waves, you get a piece. You do another 5 waves, you get a piece. You do another 5 waves, you get another piece. So you see how a lot of veterans enjoyed to stay in the Void, because not only did they get challenged, but they also got rewarded with things that they could turn around and sell for ducats. Now it's been altered to where in order to stay every 5 minutes and get pieces that you're going to turn around and sell, you have to put up a relic. Which makes ducat farming exhausting. Outright exhausting. I just don't want to do it anymore. I much rather go to the void and just stay there uninterrupted in between waves and do my thing. Get a challenge and get rewarded for it. It was one of those things that you could turn off your brain, just chat with your friends, socialize, and have a good time until the heat in the kitchen started to get unbearable. And once it starts getting unbearable, that's when you gotta turn your brain back on again and actually start playing. That was enjoyable. This shit right here is not. It's not fun. I don't care what anybody tells you. Once they've played this for an extended amount of time, 5 years to be exact, they're gonna find that this system is fundamentally flawed at its core. Practically my biggest complaint about this whole change that was made forever ago was the fact that anybody now can just go to the void. You can just go. All you gotta do is click on a mission in the void and you just go. It used to be you needed a key in order to get access to the void. I mean, that's even in one of their trailers, for God's sakes.
I got caught.
Look, now this void is not exclusive. You've ripped all the exclusivity out of it, and to top it off, when you do go to the void, you don't even get void traces. How stupid is that? You have to get void traces from open relics? Why can't you get void traces from, I don't know, the void? Instead of, let's the only reason I go to the void anymore is for argon crystals. So may I make a suggestion here and reverse the roles? Maybe let's make it so you have to go open relics to get argons, and then you go to the void for void traces. But let's do away with the whole fucking relic system and allow us to go to the void with keys. Now, do I think that the void and relic system, I think that there's a balance here. I don't necessarily think that removing relics altogether is the answer, because I strongly feel like making a relic radiant and bringing it into a void mission could increase your loot drop chances or narrow the pool of things that could drop. And that to me is cool. It's a cool idea, but it needs to be exploited. So if you're tallying up all of the things that are wrong with the relic system, we've got the fact that not a whole lot of people are going to go into chat and actively look for rad shares or intact shares or whatever they're doing, and there's utterly no point in exceptional or flawless. I've not seen, in all the time that I've played with this update, I think I've maybe seen 2 people go for exceptional. There's no point. There's people either go completely intact or they go radiant. There's no middle ground. So the fact that there's any of that is just unnecessary. If you took away the chances completely and you did like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 with the loots, you could cram more loot in these relics, and then you could make sure you specify, oh, you want the bronze tier, the silver tier, the gold tier, the diamond tier. And I think the point of relics should be narrowing your field of things that you want, because I think that going to the void should be just random. Like if you're ducat farming and just there to have fun, then you should just get random rewards without having to bring a relic at all. But if you go into the void and you do have a targeted item that you want, it could help to have these relics present where you can narrow your field of loot, where you could just, make it intact, exceptional, flawless, or radiant in order to achieve the type of tier or listing for loot that you as the individual want. And then at the end of those missions, based off of what people have brought for their relics, then you just get to choose between what's provided at the end of the mission or what you've gotten from your opened up relic. And on top of going to the void, the void traces should be in the void. That just makes sense. I mean, saying it out loud, go ahead and tell me that you get void traces from opening relics as opposed to getting them from the void, and see how well that makes sense saying it out loud. It doesn't. Void exclusivity, people not joining in chat, and the RNG, which we haven't really deeply discussed RNG, but we did state that in order to get these relics, you're going to have to farm the missions for a chance for them to appear, and then on top of that, you have to deal with more chances by getting the proper amount of radiant relics, because it could take you 10 radiants before you get the Ballistica Prime blueprint. You know what I'm saying? But the core problem with that is the fact that you need void traces, which is a separate mission, all dedicated to itself. It's not like you're going to get void traces from doing these missions or farming for these relics. No, you have to go into void fissures and open relics to get the void traces. So tally up all the actual work that you have to put in just to get a piece. It's like a wild goose chase. You need a needle that's found in a haystack in order to put it into a pin, in order to crack a lock, to open a lock box that may contain the item that you're looking for. Do you see where I'm going with this? The void system was superior because you just stockpiled the keys. That way you had maybe hundreds on the ready for when Prime Access dropped. And then you went into the void. And you just kept rinsing and repeating until you got what you wanted. The only RNG that you encountered was in the void missions. Whereas here you're encountering RNG just hunting for the relic. Then you're encountering another version of RNG trying to get the proper piece that you're looking for by making your key radiant. So now, having spent a whole 15 minutes devoted to talking to people who didn't know why this system is so flawed, how does this relate to the Requiems? Well, it's simple. No one's making their keys exceptional or flawless. The only thing that's being hosted... Look, Radshare. Rad. Where's the exceptionals? Where's the flawless? Digital Extremes never accounted for the player base doing this. And why would we make anything exceptional or flawless when all it does is increases our chances? It's not like it's a guaranteed thing. It's not like it's going to put us in that category of rewards that we're looking for. So if we specifically want the Exilus weapon adapter, we could go Radiant and to just make sure that we got it. That's why I suggested putting more stuff into different tiers. Break it down into 4 different tiers, That way, when you have an intact, you know for a fact that you're going to get something within that bronze tier. If you make it exceptional, you know for a fact that you're going to get something within that silver tier. If you make it flawless, you know for a fact that you're going to get something in that gold tier. And then add a new tier, add a platinum tier. That way, if you make it radiant, you know for a fact that in that pool of rewards, you're going to get something within that. So you could effectively cram a lot more into the relics without needing to introduce more relics each and every prime access. It's getting redundant. Leave the relics at a set amount of relics. And just only add stuff when you really need to. You don't need to have all of the... Look, this is ridiculous. The fact that my list goes on and on and on. If I were to explain this to a newcomer, they wouldn't know what the hell I was even talking about. And the vocabulary for Warframe is already pretty hefty in order for a newcomer to understand. So, I digress. Requiem relics were a nightmare to be added, because now you have to farm for these things, and they're a decaying resource, which is a problem, because you shouldn't need anything in order to kill your Lich. There's no reason. Like, these mods, outside of being used in the right combination to kill your Lich, they're outright useless. You don't use them for anything else. It might be different if they gave you some type of additive benefit, if they did something unique, if there was some type of applicable use to them aside from them just being there in the right order. I have no idea why you need these mods in order to go over to this. And the funny thing about this is, when you click on your Kuva Lich, which mine is ungodly ugly. I don't know what's going on with this face. I really think it's cool that they included a Tenogen helmet, though. That's really nice. So I've only discovered one of the mods that's needed to take down my Lich. And as you can see, it just did that. It just keeps rotating around. What this indicates is that you can find out the mods that it takes to bring down your Lich, but you never find out the order. So, screw you if you go up to your boss with all three of the mods that you know you need, but you have them in the wrong combination. So they just kill you. That's kind of an issue. Them killing you is a tremendous issue, and here's why. When you're actually in these missions and trying to discover the mods you need in order to bring your Lich down, your Lich will randomly appear before you're ready to take them down. And this can be very problematic for random players that you're teaming up with, because a lot of them are doing different things. Maybe you're doing an excavation, and maybe the Kuva Lich is destroying the excavators. Maybe you have a Lich that you're not ready to take down, so you're just ignoring it because you don't want to level it up. You don't want to make it stronger. You don't want to make the missions be harder than what you're ready for. So you want to ignore it. But somebody wants you to kill your Lich, that way they can have their Lich spawn in. I can't tell you how many times I was on both ends of this spectrum. I can't count on two hands. Because I've been in missions where I was ready for my Lich to be vanquished. I wanted my Lich to spawn in, but somebody else's had spawned in, and guess what? They weren't ready to kill their Lich. So they ignored it. And here I am getting excessively angry because they won't let the Lich kill them. That way the Lich would disappear, lending it possible for my Lich to spawn in and get killed by me. So there is no options for digital extremes here. And this is a flat-out demand from the developers. You don't have options. There are no alternatives. a button into the game that allows us to dismiss or ban our Lich from the mission. I like that they're spawning in randomly and attacking us. That is cool. That is immersive. But if we're not ready to kill them, there needs to be an ability to just send them away. It would be nice if we had the mod order not right, that they wouldn't kill us. That way players would feel more inclined to just run up to them and try to stab them, only to get that like execution animation play out and maybe down us. I don't even know that that's fair, honestly, because why would it kill us or injure us at all? There just needs to be a way to remove them from the map. That way it's not disruptive to other people, because as it is right now, it is highly disruptive and it is creating toxicity. I have reported this in the forums. I have screenshots of this. I have people getting frustrated with me. I've been getting frustrated with people. It's causing your community to have a civil war amongst themselves. And it's just not freaking good. Don't get me wrong. I really love this system as a whole. I really love the Nemesis being added to the game and being able to track who I've killed which Lich with. It's added a new level of playability and replayability to the game for me. I've killed all these Liches, and really I've gotten lucky with the loot that's dropped from them, because basically all the Kuva weapons that I was interested in, I got immediately right out of the gate. You know, I got the only melee weapon that was available from this update, and then I got everything else that was interesting. The dual stubba, so the dual stubba there, and then I got the Tonkor, which Tonkor is already a great weapon, but now that we've got an upgrade, why not grab that? And then, like I said, the only melee that came with the bunch, and this Arcwing gun, it's really good. It's really good. But the only issue I have with these Kuva weapons is that they require like 5 forma to get the max mastery from them. There's no point in some of these weapons getting 5 forma. I would highly advise Digital Extremes to look at key weapons within these drops and tame it down, because there's not a lot of them that need 5 forma for any build. Even with a Riven included, you're not gonna need 5 forma. It's terrible. It's really, really terrible. If all of this wasn't bad enough and it didn't convince you at all that this update needs work, then I've just got to bring up the fact that this update also introduced game-breaking glitches. Everything from being stuck in the environment and objects such as the lures and Eidolon hunting being immovable, to the Vasca curative not curing your infected Kavats in mission. And that's something that's consistently wrong with this game. I've never experienced lures that sat still. Never. In all the years that I've been playing Warframe, and in all the years that Eidolon hunting has been available, I have never had a lure that was unable to follow me. So the game's not going to show it right now, but when your Kavat is infected with the Vasca vampiric disease, which is something that your Kavat it's required of you to get your Kavat infected. You have to get your Kavat infected, and then make an imprint of them while they're infected, and you repeat that process twice. So I did it with 2 different Kavats. I did it with Holocaust here, which is one of my favorite Kavats, and well, she's infected. And I purchased the Vasca Curative from the Companion Master on Cetus. And right away you'll notice that it's a gear item, but it doesn't work. I've used it in mission, and it didn't work. So as it stands, my Kavat is still infected. And I don't know what type of consequences are going to come from this. Maybe there are no consequences, but it's broken. And I don't know the future of my Kavat, and I really don't like the idea of some of the items of my game being jeopardized because of a fundamentally flawed update has been pushed through too early. And this is that point in the video where I just suggest to the Digital Extremes that instead of pushing updates through immediately, why not let, like, founders of the game or partners or somebody play test this shit before it goes live? That way we can really kind of iron out all the bugs before it goes global to the rest of the world. So I'm on YouTube all the time, being as given the fact that I do YouTube for this game, and I've got to tell you, if you're going to listen to anybody, it should be me. You shouldn't listen to any of the partners, and I'm not trying to target them. I'm not trying to cast shade on them, but what I'm going to tell you is that the partners don't have to work for anything that they do. Through the partner program, and this is something they don't tell you, I don't know if they do this on purpose, or if they just haven't brought it up to you, but the partners all get handed the new items from each update for free by Digital Extremes. Digital Extremes gives them in their inbox all the new cosmetics, all the new items, everything for free so that they can cover it on their page. It makes sense, right? So what this does is it means that the partners who are covering Warframe and representing it, they're not actually having to grind for shit. I'm not a Warframe partner. I am not a Warframe official partner. Therefore, everything that I have acquired, everything that I've showcased on my channel has been 100% my grind. 100% me. And so if you're going to listen to anyone, please listen to me, because I am vying for your benefit. I am making complaint videos like this for your benefit. You, the person who is also not partnered, the person who also has to either buy this stuff with your own money or grind for it endlessly. And so I'm trying to establish a game that is balanced and enjoyable for all of us. And in doing so, I'm going to wrap up this video by saying that YouTube is screwing me over. I'm losing subscribers in bulk, and I'm starting to believe that that's not actually people voluntarily clicking the unsubscribe button, because I've noticed other YouTubers that do like Ashmere videos or news videos on wrestling, whatever they're doing, they've reported losing subscribers as well. Effectively, it's just unsubscribing a lot of people. So please hit that like button, hit comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, do everything I always encourage you to do. And on top of this, I have more additional content outside of Warframe. As it reads in my tagline when you go to my profile, I am a writer, an illustrator, an animator, and an editor. I've written a book, and I'm working very, very hard to edit it and release it to the world for viewing. I would like to seek out a publisher and get it put in local libraries all over the world if I can. That's the goal. Now, I've already done a hentai comic, which I have a video on that, and even if you're not a fan of that, I would highly encourage you guys to go support me by going and getting your digital copy of that, because it's going towards a VR headset, which I am going to be using to create what I hope to be the 3D version of Death Battles. If you guys are familiar with Death Battles, I'm essentially going to be migrating from doing Warframe content to doing 100% animation and artistic endeavors from my own writing and my own illustrating. I've got concept art for... There's hundreds of characters, and with all of the concept art that I've done, I've probably only covered like 10% of the characters in all of these books. I've got an entire universe outside of the trilogy. The trilogy just paves the way for the universe to become a thing. If you're not familiar with that, it's called the Exidium Universe. I've got a website for this. I've got merchandise out. Guys, I am not just a one-trick pony. Please, view more content besides the Warframe God builds. Aside from that, you guys have been excellent. You've kept this page afloat for years now. It's only now, during the YouTube ad apocalypse, that I've really been hit pretty hard. I went from making a measly $300 a month to a flat nothing. So, right now I've moved on to Gumroad because I'm only producing one-time sales, such as the hentai comic. But I've already got a Patreon, and so once I start being able to put out enough 3D content, I intend to make a online web series that has storyline. It has voiceovers. It's going to have the whole 9 yards. I really want to make a TV show out of my books and my illustrating. So the only way to speed that process up right now is to go support me. I'm also going to hold a poll sometime soon on YouTube to see where the headspace is of my fans, if they're ready to support me for the second year in a row to try and get my financial situation straightened out, because big thanks to everyone who supported me last year. Had it not been for you, I would have been homeless, and you really helped me out through a difficult time in my life. And this time, when I do it this year, the reason why I'm going to be doing it is to invest in more equipment to bring you guys more content to this page. This is not the end for me. In fact, this is only just the beginning. I haven't even touched down on any of the unique content, any of the storylines that I've written, that I've done myself. But if you are interested in the Exidium universe and all that I've written, all that I've done so far, you can start by checking out some of the trailers that I've done, the Warframe God Builds trailers. A lot of them are parodies, but then a few of them are actually Exidium canon. They contain actual storylines for characters that you will see appear in future endeavors. On top of that, you have the Dragon Ball Xenoverse God Build series. All 6 characters are Exidium canon, and they contain bios after the video. So if you want to go check out that video, I would highly advise that you do that as well. And I'll repeat it once more for anybody who didn't hear it, or people who are just skipping to the end of the video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because it really helps me out. Do as I always encourage you to do. I love you guys. This has been Vance signing out. Till next time, peace.